I'm going to get a suggestion from you guys of a word, a noun, a thing, whatever, and we're going to instantly try and recall memories, recollections, stories from our childhood, from our life, that hopefully are either interesting, funny, poignant, scary. They could be sad. We had some sad ones the other night, and they were actually some of the best.
I can top that!
I can top that!
I can top that.
I can top that.
I can top that one.
I can top that.
The quick quips, rapid recollections, and excessive alliteration round.
And so I was breastfeeding a newborn baby, 2-week-old. I'm standing in a puddle, basically, and the drag queen in the Ginger Spice dress slips over in my breast milk while handing out the award for the top Ford salesman of the year.
I was so busty. I went to the loo and I went, oh, and I was weeing and weeing and weeing, and I was so relieved I had my eyes closed, going, oh, this is just the best. And I opened my eyes and I looked down, and my 2-year-old had walked into the line of the water. And I realised that I'd been pissing on my son in the middle of the Powerhouse Museum. And
I said, you look tops. He said, yeah, I'm feeling really foxy. You sure are. And she walked away, right? And I was like, yeah. So I started putting on my best stuff, a bit of cologne and everything, right? It's going to be a good night. And then she came out and she had these sort of loose slacks on and kind of a, I don't know, like a frumpy kind of sweater. And she changed. And I said, what's wrong? You were feeling really foxy. She said, no, I said I'm feeling refluxy.
I once wore a slim black dress.
All right, so now we're going to a standard round. But before we do, I want to tell you that you have an opportunity tonight. If you have a story of your own, I would think while you're listening to ours, if a really good story comes to mind, about a minute long, minute and a half, and we'll give you an opportunity later in the night. So that's the audience opportunity. All right.
Wow.
So I was doing a stilt walking gig at the Free Flight Bird Show at Taronga Zoo.
At the what?
And the Free Flight Bird Show at Taronga Zoo. And of course I was dressed as a fairy on 3 people in the audience, and none of the birds want to come out because you're flapping your wings. You stop flapping your bloody wings and just stand there.
he was, right, with his face against where all the snakes are, just going like this, and I caught him there and he was going, terrible
I can
story.
top that. So I was at the zoo again, on stilts again. This time I was dressed as a camel, and they had trained a seal. It was the opening of the new pavilion at the zoo, and they'd trained a seal to shake hands with the premier. And again, I'm there as a camel on my stilts going, oh, hello, fabulous, 3 years at acting school to be a camel on stilts. And another keeper came over and said, the seal won't perform. You're standing there dressed as a camel. You're freaking the seal out and you go away.
I can top that, but it's to do with being caught in public in ridiculous costumes doing a performance thing like that with that guy in the second round. All these people get off the boat and they'd walk by and I'd go, welcome to my kingdom. And they go, fuck off, mate. And I was crushed because I felt like I'd been building up to this. I was important. They're going to come to me, and it just kept happening. And I left and went to the toilets and was hiding because the pharaoh was too chicken to come out. However, the moneylender down here, the professional clown, I left him with a group, and they told me to piss off. And then he went, oh, would you like some shekels money? I would like to buy and trade. I'm a market sharer. And they said, fuck off. And I came back. About 5 minutes later came, I've got to get paid, I've got to get paid, I've got to do this. And he was surrounded by about 40 people that he'd managed to win over somehow while I was in the toilet crying.
My uncle, actually, my father...
I could top that.
So I was working on stilts at the Taronga Zoo. No, I wasn't. But
He's on stilts now.
The toilet. The toilet made me think of this. So I'm doing this
Your
big
kids are laughing.
corporate gig. Yes, I know. So I'm doing this big corporate gig, and I've sold this show that I'm doing called Improzac. And so we're waiting for the clients to come because they're coming by bus. And we're like, yeah, they're taking forever. And I gotta go pee. I just gotta go. So I go down backstage, and I'm walking around. Where? They said it was just down here. Finally, I find it, and I go pee, and I go, okay, I head back, and I think it was this way. I think it was this. No, it was definitely this way. And I cannot find the stage. And I'm looking at my watch, and I'm supposed to be on stage now, and they can't start the show without me because I'm the guy. I'm the guy who starts the show and controls the show. So I'm running now. I'm running as fast. I'm going up to catering staff. Going, where's the stage? They're going, we don't know. Where's the catering staff? I don't know. Maybe try that way. So I'm running. Then I'm outside. Oh no! I'm outside on the inside. I go back in. Now I'm in those big halls where you go. There's 20 different shows, and I'm looking for where's the client? The client's name's not here. And I finally come into the show from the audience. Hey! Pretend this is exactly how it happened. And
I know that story from the point of view of the performers who were with you.
yes, I know.
And this is what they told me.
No.
The Thrill Seeker Challenge. Everyone say it. The
Thrill
Seeker Challenge.
That's right. So, at any time, one of the guests can decide, I don't want to play it safe. I want to stand in front of the mic. You hand me any piece of paper, I've got a good story for it. It's very risky. They may not even choose to do it if they're chickens.
Which I was the other night. I didn't try.
No. I think he's baiting you now, isn't he?
Can we do this any time?
Any time between rounds,
Like
Well,
now,
lucky
I
you
could go
leave
now.
it
You can go right
I could go right now
Right
and
now.
go Thrill Seeker.
You got to read it up though.
So I do have to. So one time I was in my car, right? Actually, the first thing I remember, I was in my car and it was my very first car that I owned. It was a Ford Cortina. I don't know if anyone remembers Ford Cortina. It's a beautiful yellow station wagon. I bought it off my friend Andrew Finlay. Who knows Andrew Finlay? No, of course not. I'm not marrying to anything in this story. But Andrew Finlay, just as a side story to this, I also owned a motorbike once. This has got nothing to do with the first story, right? I owned a motorbike once, and I just remembered when I was out there that I used to store at Andrew Finlay's house under there, and I came and stole my own motorbike. That's really bad. I'm confessing here. When I was 17, I stole my own motorbike for insurance. Oh! That's not the story, right? He was parked, didn't look, did a U-turn in front of me. And I slammed on the brakes and we just plowed into the side of this, I don't know what it was, Holden or Ford, whatever it was in front of me. And the car, we completely smashed the front of the car. That's the good part of the story. The next thing is that, remember cassettes? Remember cassettes? I have to say this. The cassette slid into the machine, right?
In the impact.
In the impact, the cassette slid into the machine, and Elton John's Funeral for a Friend came on and started to play, right? And we were all a bit dazed and a bit thing, and we all freaked out and we spent more time just trying to get the music out of the machine to try and say this. And it was the scariest. It was like one of those moments where you think you're going to die and then you thought you did. I actually thought I did.
All right, does he pass the thrill seeker? Oh, yeah. Should he go to jail for fraud? That's right. All right.
Terrible. I've never told anyone that.
Standard new round. So, can I have a noun?
What's the round?
Vegemite.
Vegemite.
Okay, I've got a Vegemite story. So I was an exchange student in Japan, and there was a very, very annoying boy in my class. He was Japanese, and he made me fail my English test. And so my host family had said, right, all these people you've got to give gifts to. So I'd had some Vegemite from home, and I pulled it out, and he said, "Nani, what is this?" And I said, "Chocoreto." Chocolate. So he got a spoon and went, "Daikirai," which means
You've got to deal with navigating a tight dress across there, because otherwise it looks wrong. So I won't go into detail with what I had to do to make that look flat and even. And I had a lot to work with. No.
I can top that. I can. again, speaking of dressing as a woman, right? I was probably in my early 20s, 20 or something like that, and I was doing
last year.
Yeah, it was last year. early 20s,
Last
yeah,
week.
5 years ago. And I was I was in all those all girls nights where they have the male strippers, right?
You were the stripper?
No, yeah, they all wanted to go out to that, and I was just going, oh, that's really boring. I can't come. And they went, yeah, come on. I went, yeah, I'll come. So they dressed me up as a woman.
Did you have the beard?
No, I've never had a beard. This is 50 years of growth. So they actually dressed me. So the girls got together, and I was going to say I was not a pretty specimen. But they had kind of looking. I'm going, can I? And they went, come on, I'll just leave her alone. She's doing it. So I go in. I said to one of the girls next to me, I said, I've got to go to the loo. What am I going to do? I said, I can't go to the men's, because that's like really obvious. They said, we'll come with you. So they walked with me, and I'm going in there, and we're going in, and so I went to the loo, right? And they said, make sure you sit down on the toilet. Make sure you sit, everyone will know if you stand, right? And I sat down on the toilet, and I was coming out, I just wanted to get out of there right now, so I was coming out of the toilet, I went straight out of the booth, and I was heading to the door, and the girl just grabbed me, she turned me around, she said, when you're a girl, you act like a girl, and you wash your hands.
All right, so there you picture me. I'm out on the ice, and I've got my stick, and I'm skating around. I'm trying to do my best. Come on, guys, pass it to me, please. Right? And the worst thing is the other guys on the other team will knock my stick, and it will fly out of my hands. I'm so weak. And then they'll chase the stick around with me, like, please, guys, give my stick back. Come on. It was pathetic. Right? My dad, he's in the bleachers. He's saying something like, 2 hands on the stick, Johnny! He's so loud, he scares my coach. Now, at intermission, Dad comes to the rescue. He comes into my dressing room, and in front of my whole team, he gaffer tapes the stick to my gloves. Tapes it on so tightly I can't get my hands out of the gloves. I'm stuck to my stick. I'm stuck to a stick. Oh, now I have to pee, but I'm stuck to a stick. And the next thing I know, I'm back out on the ice. I can hear them in the crowd. What's that nerdy little redhead doing? You can't tape to a stick? I'm so angry. I'm cursing my old man. Not real swear words. Well, I don't want to be a mark. No, I said something like, you dumb, stupid dad, you're a jerk. You know, Ned Flanders style. But the worst part is, I can't drop it. You play much better when you don't drop your stick. So I'm skating along, and Mark Simpson sees me open. He passes me the puck. Well, I hit it towards the net. It goes right in. I scored my first goal. My dad goes ballistic. He comes running down the bleachers all the way around the rink, and he holds my hands up in the air. He is so proud of the gaffer tape. Pat on still. My dad says, Johnny, I got a present for you. 2 hookers. Home delivered. To our family home. In walks Krista, and Charlene. Oh yeah, I remember their names. That night is burned in my brain. So Ian goes with Charlene into my bedroom and becomes a man on my birthday. On my Star Wars sheets. My dad is completely fuming. He's like, Johnny, get her in there. Get her in there. He's pointing to my little brother's room. Get her in there. Don't make me get the gaffer tape.